Dorian Fennell had always hated unexpected messages. In his line of work, surprises usually meant trouble. So when his comms unit blinked to life with an encrypted signal, he cursed under his breath, already knowing this was going to be a bad day. "Captain Fennell," the message began, in the familiar gravelly voice of Jax Tiber, a long-lost friend he hadn't heard from in years. "If you're receiving this, I'm dead," Dorian frowned, staring at the holographic display flickering before him. Jax was the kind of guy you never expected to die. Too stubborn, too skilled. If anyone could beat the odds in this galaxy, it was Jax. And yet, here he was, leaving a message from beyond the grave. "I've left you something," Jax continued. "An inheritance of sorts. Something valuable, something dangerous. And it's waiting for you at Outpost 9, the message ended abruptly, leaving only a set of coordinates on the screen. Dorian leaned back in his chair, tapping his fingers against the console. Outpost 9 was on the fringes of nowhere, far from his usual trade routes. And yet, Jax wouldn't have reached out unless it was serious. He punched in the coordinates and set the Starbound on autopilot. Whatever Jax had left for him, it better be worth the trouble. The docking bay of Outpost 9 was eerily quiet as Dorian's boots echoed against the metal floor. He expected a shipment, credits. Maybe a cache of weapons. What he didn't expect was the tall figure waiting for him, illuminated by the dim overhead lights. Her skin shimmered silver, catching the light like liquid mercury. Sapphire eyes watched him with unsettling calm. An alien, Zilithian, if he wasn't mistaken, Captain Fennell. Her voice was soft, but it carried the weight of authority. Dorian stopped dead, confusion clouding his mind. "Who are you?" She extended her hand, revealing a small holodisc. Jax's voice crackled to life once more. "Meet Leora. She's my wife. Well, she was supposed to be. Now, she's yours." Dorian's heart skipped a beat. "Excuse me," Leora nodded. "According to Zilithian law, I've been transferred to you. Jax arranged it to keep me safe from those who seek to use me as a pawn in the political games of my people." Dorian blinked, trying to process the absurdity of the situation. "I'm a salvage captain, not a bodyguard. And definitely not a husband." "Nevertheless," Leora said, her expression unreadable, "you are now responsible for my safety. And those who want me are already on their way." The Starbound's alarms blared, confirming her words. Dorian glanced at the sensors, multiple ships inbound, too fast to be friendly, fan-freaking-tastic, he muttered, rushing back to the cockpit. "Strap in, Leora. If you're sticking with me, things are about to get ugly." She followed without hesitation, her presence calm amid the rising chaos. As the engines roared to life, Dorian couldn't help but wonder what kind of mess Jax had dragged him into this time, and why, despite it all, he felt a strange thrill pulsing through his veins. The Starbound shook violently as Dorian yanked the controls, dodging a barrage of laser fire. The sleek, black shapes of Zilithian fighters cut through the void, their weapons lighting up the cockpit with every near miss. The hum of the engines, usually a comforting sound, now thrummed with the tension that filled the cabin. "How many?" Leora's voice was calm, unnervingly so. "Too many." Dorian gritted his teeth, eyes fixed on the scanners. 4 ships. Fast and heavily armed. They're not here to chat. The fighters closed in, their intent clear. Dorian pulled the ship into a steep dive, skimming the surface of a nearby asteroid field. "Hold on," he muttered, cutting the ship between the massive rocks, hoping to use the debris as cover. The Starbound weaved through the jagged formations, but the Zilithian ships were relentless, sticking to them like shadows. Leora sat in the co-pilot's seat, her eyes scanning the tactical display. "Zorak's forces. They'll keep coming until we're either captured or destroyed. Good to know." Dorian's hands moved swiftly across the console, redirecting power to the shields. The ship shuddered under another hit. His patience was thinning. "Any bright ideas, or do we just wait to get vaporized?" Leora's sapphire eyes flickered toward him. Zorak is on the lead ship. Take him out, and the others will scatter. Zilithians follow strength. Dorian shot her a skeptical glance. And how exactly am I supposed to do that? She leaned forward, studying the scanner for a split second before pointing to a cluster of asteroids off to the side. Lure them in there. I'll handle the rest, Dorian's brow furrowed. You'll handle it? You're a diplomat, not a tactician, a small smile ghosted across her lips. You might be surprised, he didn't have time to argue. The ship jerked to the right, and he sent it diving toward the asteroid cluster she'd indicated. The Zilithian ships followed, closing the distance. Whatever you're planning, it better work, he muttered as the asteroids loomed closer. It will. Leora stood and calmly made her way to the weapons console, fingers dancing over the unfamiliar controls with a grace that startled Dorian. The ship's targeting system lit up as she locked onto the lead vessel, Zorak's ship. Now, she said softly. Dorian fired the thrusters, spinning the Starbound into a sharp turn, bringing them face to face with the incoming fighters. At the same moment, Leora launched a volley of proton torpedoes directly at the largest ship. Zorak's ship didn't have time to react. The torpedoes struck its hull, sending a shockwave that reverberated through the asteroid field. The ship exploded in a flash of light, debris scattering in every direction. The remaining Zilithian fighters faltered, and just as Leora predicted, they retreated, scattering into the blackness of space. Dorian exhaled, gripping the controls tighter than he realized. I take it back, he muttered. You're more than a diplomat. Leora sat back down, her expression unreadable. There's more to this than you know, Captain. We're not safe yet. Dorian shot her a sideways glance. I'm starting to get that.